and welcome to Married at First Sight, a recap review of season 16, episode 11. And my name is Deborah, and we're going to be talking about all the various couples. I do separate videos on each individual couple. And at the end of each video, there will be links above my head, and you can click on them and go to the next video. I'll also keep the links in the description box and also in the comments section. You can just click on it there as well. So let's move forward and talk about Airris and Jasmin. Airris and Jasmin. Now, if any of you guys watch my videos every week, you know I don't like Airris. You know I don't like Airris. You know that if I was giving a party and you was like, girl, who you inviting? You know a darn well Airris is not going to be on my invite list. He's not going to be nowhere on there, and this week was no exception. I'm telling you, watch all my videos this week, because this week I'm talking about the kings and queens of the flip, and I'm talking about people who don't take zero accountability, and everything that's wrong with them, they blaming you for it. Well, let me tell you, the founder of that king and queens of flip, the founder was Airris. Robot Airris, and this week was no exception, because once again, here we are blaming and telling Jasmin she needs to be something different, something more, because he's the one with all the mental blockage and all the other stuff going on. So before, she needed a big booty like Serena and Lauren London. This week, she needs a vibe. I tell you, everything he keeps coming up with, his ideas, is what can Jasmin do to make me more attracted to her? And really what he needs to be doing is looking around his neck at that necklace, looking at that obituary, and realizing he needs to go and sit on a therapist couch, because the blockage for Airris, especially when it involves the area of sex, is huge. Anytime Airris gets uncomfortable, anytime Airris doesn't want to start talking about his real feelings, there's two things he does. He looks away in space like a robot, and then he says, oh, let's talk about sex, robotic sex. This is his default conversation. This is where he feels comfortable. This is what he likes to talk about because he's comfortable there. Robotic sex, R&B videos, all this kind of stuff. He doesn't want to talk about emotions and feelings. And you know the way he gets you off of him? You know the way he gets you to stop talking to him about his emotions? He brings up sex. That's what he does. He brings it up sex, because a lot of people, they don't want to talk about that either. So the way Airris gets you to get off of him talking about his emotions, he asks you a sex question. That's his modus of operandi. That's what he likes to do. And it doesn't matter who tries to hold him accountable. It doesn't matter who tries to tell him, well, what's your plan? What's your plan? He don't have one. He does not have one. Even when he was sitting there with his friend and he was telling his friend, man, we ain't, his friend was like, where are you with Jasmin? Are you even on first base? He said, first base? I'm still sitting in the parking lot with my uniform on. We haven't even made it to first, second, or third base, nowhere. We do see that they share little kisses on the lips. So at least they're doing that. But other than that, like he said, we haven't moved the needle one bit. And let me tell you, Jasmin is irritated. Jasmin is upset. Jasmin is over here thinking about, I thought I taught little kids over here at this cheerleading camp. I'm dealing with a little kid sitting in front of me. She said, I thought I bred dogs and, raised dogs for a living, and I got a man for a dog. Her whole life of teaching little kids how to cheerlead and how to raise dogs is manifested here in her marriage, because she only not has she not only has a child for a husband, she got a dog too. Poor Jasmin. Poor Jasmin. So he up here telling his friend, you know what? I don't know what it is why I'm not attracted to her. Maybe she needs a vibe. Still ain't looking at himself. He still hasn't thought, maybe there's something wrong with me that I haven't been in love in 39 years. So even when I'm sitting here with this woman, I'm still not falling in love, but it's still her fault. She's the one that needs a new outfit. She needs a vibe. She needs to be funny. Now he's telling us she needs to be a doggone comedian. This boy I'm about to start calling him ignorant. I'm about to start calling him ignorant, because I can't understand how you could have all these clues about yourself for 40 doggone years, to be walking out on earth for 40 years, never being in love, and still believe that the problem is because the woman doesn't have a big booty and a smile and she don't know how to tell no jokes. Oh, Lordy have mercy. Like I said, he's a robot. He is a robot. And robots have no feelings. They just move through a computer program. No feelings, like this stuff that's going around now, AI chatbots. Shoot, actually AI chatbots, I've been looking at that on YouTube. That might be a better boyfriend for Jasmin than this husband of Airris, because at least this AI stuff, at least they reusing lines from real people. Even the robots are more sophisticated than Airris now, because these new robots is pulling real lines and they saying them to you like they're your real boyfriend. And Airris over here, he's so, let me say, I don't want to call him ignorant, slow. Let's put it that way. He's so slow, he don't even know how to Google some things. Google mental health. Let's start there, Airris. Let's Google mental health and let's Google a psychotherapy, because those are two things you need help with. He talking about he don't know what he needs to do. It's called psychotherapy. That's what it's called. Google it. Google it. That's the help you need. You don't need a big booty. You don't need a comedian. You don't need a vibe. You don't need none of that. You don't need an R&B video. You need a psychotherapy. And then they have this anniversary. They have a 30-day anniversary, 1 month anniversary. And what is Airris' plan? What is Airris' plan? He plans a date at the Rage Room. Now, you just told me you needed a vibe. You needed a sexy dress. You needed some comedy. Okay, how does a Rage Room help with any of that, Airris? How does it? Because the Rage Room was for you. That's what I'm talking about. Every time he does something, he acts like it's to help. It's because it's something Jasmin needs. He says, okay. She says, well, you telling me I need to get something out of me? Or do you need to get something out of you? No, Jasmin, he don't think he needs to get anything out of him, because he thinks you're the one with all the problems. He thinks you need to go to a Rage Room to get stuff out of you. He doesn't think he has no junk inside of him. That's the problem. He thinks his insides are pure and clean, when really they're contaminated. So they go to this Rage Room. How does that help, Airris? Does that give you a vibe? Are there jokes told inside the Rage Room? Is her booty gonna grow inside the Rage Room? Ugh. Even his ideas are ignorant and slow. I can't stand Airris. I'm telling you, I wish there was a list that could be published where men could be put on the list, and before you go out with a person, you could just go in and check the database. You know how they be having those lists in your neighborhoods, who the child predators and all this other kind of stuff, and you can go and look and make sure there ain't too many near you. I wish there was a list like that for men, because let me tell you, I would personally go to that database and put Airris' name on it. What's his last name? What is his last? Ladies, we might need to start a list of the called non-datables. Non-datables. Stay away from these men. These men cannot be dated. Somebody, any entrepreneurs out here, y'all need to create a business where we get to put people's names on a national databases and classify them as non-dateable, because Airris, he needs to be on that list until he goes and gets some psychotherapy. You know, they go this other scene, they're looking back, looking at photo albums and stuff like this, and Airris starts talking about, you know, Jasmin was saying, I know I haven't been that happy since that day. That was a happy day of my life. But since then, it's gone all downhill. Jasmin, she losing it, y'all. She is losing all her enthusiasm day by day by day. She is being worn down by this man. She really is. And you know what? I feel sorry for her, but I can see how the life is just draining out of Jasmin. I mean, somebody gonna have to come up here and do a cheer for her. All that happiness from being a Miss America or whatever she was, Miss whatever, and all that happiness from being a cheerleading girl, it is leaving her quickly. Now, for this episode, Jasmin's head was on her hand. She could barely hold her head up. This man is weighing on her heavily. So she was trying to tell him, hey, you need to put forth some effort. You need to put forth more effort. And he was like, yeah, I'm trying. How are you trying? What plan do you have? You're not trying. He says, well, I've just been in shock, and, you know, it's all a big blur. Shock and a big blur. He acted like he was kidnapped by the Taliban and then showed up at a wedding. How can you be shocked from a wedding in which you've been in the process for 4 months? I'm telling you, he ain't too bright. He is not too bright. Shock is when you find yourself somewhere and you're like, how did I get here? The way you got here in the marriage, Airris, was you applied, you signed up, and you were here. Wait a minute, Airris, did you really sign up? This goes back to what we talk about. Did Airris really sign up for Married at First Sight? Or did somebody else sign him up, just like Dom's mother signed him up? Because the way he's talking is shock and in awe, and it's all a big blur. He act like he's Mr. T. Remember Mr. T from the A-Team, and they had to put him to sleep to get him on a plane, and he would wake up in strange places. Airris acts like he's Mr. T, and somebody drugged him, and all of a sudden he woke up and was married to Jasmin. I'm telling y'all, he's not too bright. He is not too bright at all. When they sitting up here, she's like, what we gonna cheers to? And he's all talking about, hey, can we just take a sex off the table? Can we really just take sex off the table? Because it really is too much pressure for me. It really is too much pressure for me. And Jasmin was like, oh, we can take sex off the table, but does that mean we gotta take intimacy off the table too? Romance off the table? You know what? We need more romance in this marriage, and you plan a 30-day anniversary to a rage room. What the heck? How is that bringing in more romance? How is that creating more warm and fuzzy feelings? Because he doesn't want to feel any warm and fuzzy feelings, people. He doesn't want to feel those feelings, because anytime you try to make him start talking about his feelings, he diverts to the words of sex. So when they were sitting there at that romantic dinner, sipping champagne, what does Airris want to talk about? Let's take sex off the table. I want to sex. Even when they're talking to the other couples at the dinner, he starts talking about, is sex any different than if you're married or if you are just dating? Why are you asking this question? You just told Jasmin the day before that you wanted to take a sex off the table, period. Now all of a sudden you asking about, is sex better or worse or different or whatever the case may be in marriage? Why are you bringing it up? You know why he's bringing it up? Because they were talking about other things at the table, feelings, emotions, loving each other, growing in love, growing in emotions. And what does Airris like to do anytime you start talking about emotions? Sex. That's what he likes to talk about. I'm telling you, he's a robot. I don't know who programmed Airris. Whatever engineer, a computer programmer, any person out here who did this, but they must have put in some language that said, anytime a conversation comes up about emotions, then do this. I told y'all I'm an engineer. I know how to program, and you can definitely program something that says, anytime you're triggered by this, say this. I'm telling you, Airris not only needs a psychotherapy, he probably needs hypnosis. Somebody need to put him under. Just like he said, it was all a blur. Somebody needs to put Airris under and get to the root of all this subconscious stuff going on in him. I'm telling you, it goes back, way back to when that daddy was alive and when that daddy passed away. This goes back 30 years, people. 30 years. He's telling Jasmin, we got to take sex off the table. She's like, but do we have to take intimacy off the table? Yes, Jasmin, he's got to take intimacy off the table too, because intimacy is really his real trigger. Intimacy really is what his trigger is. That's why sex is not intimate for him. Just like he told you, I have sex with plenty of women all the time. He sat up there and told the group he has had sex with past relationships where he didn't care nothing about the women. So Jasmin, he's not afraid of sex. What he's afraid of is intimacy. And what he's afraid of is if you have sex, then that's going to bring in a level of intimacy, and he doesn't want that. Now, if you didn't like him, then you know what? He probably would sleep with you. But Jasmin, don't sleep with him. Please, Jasmin, do not sleep with Airris. Do not sleep with Airris. Don't do it at all, because he really would love probably to have sex with no intimacy, sex with no feelings, sex with none of that. He's afraid of the intimacy, and what he knows is in marriage, sex should come with intimacy, and so therefore he don't even want the sex. That's where he is now. If I have to have sex with intimacy, he's like, I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want to have nothing to do with it. I'm so tired of Airris, people. Where is the psychotherapist on this show? Is Dr. Pepper a psychotherapist? Is she a psychotherapist? Because that's what Airris needs. Airris doesn't need any other type of person talking to him. He don't need no Dr. Cal, no religious teachings. He doesn't need any of that. He needs a psychotherapist. and he needs probably a hypnotherapist. That's what I'm telling you. Anyway, that's it, y'all. Please watch my other videos, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.